In Chapter 3, I'll be discussing what walkable urbanism is, how it relates to housing affordability, and what the biggest common coding barriers are to creating more walkable urbanism and more affordable and accessible housing. At CNU, our mission is to champion walkable urbanism, but we often get asked, what exactly is walkable urbanism? Well, the short answer is that it's a place that is compact with a mix of different uses and mobility options, and where people and businesses are healthy, sustainable, and prosperous. It's really very simple. And Vermont is full of these examples, from rural villages like Ripton and Hancock to urban downtowns like Burlington and Montpelier. But walkable urbanism is more than that. It's also about the spaces between buildings that create a dynamic experience, inviting people to engage with their environment and with each other. And it is this dynamic between the design of the built environment and the people who exist in these places that creates socially just neighborhoods that are economically robust, environmentally resilient, and people-centered places. The kinds of places that Vermont is known for, and that many Vermonters and those coming to Vermont want better, more attainable access to. So while most communities want more walkable, vibrant streets and neighborhoods with a diverse offering of affordable housing, the most prevalent obstacles to that desire are common to many existing local bylaws across the state. The key areas that have the most significant impact on the ability for a community to create vibrant, walkable downtowns and village centers and affordable and accessible adjacent neighborhoods to those centers cover a broad range of topics, but they primarily fall into common categories. Things like parking requirements and what uses are allowed, or more importantly, not allowed in a community, and how many dwellings can be on a single residential lot, and what the process for approval of even the most small-scale development still demands. It's often very lengthy. It's likely that your community faces some or all of these obstacles. Meanwhile, the unique physical character of Vermont, beautiful rural landscapes, and compact historic towns are powerful economic and social engines. Creating walkable streets and neighborhoods is a proven path to improving community health and resilience, while promoting sustainability, business opportunities, and equity. Decent, affordable, and reasonably located homes profoundly impact the quality of life that Vermont offers. Housing impacts nearly everything in a person's daily life, from travel time and commuting options to the ability to quickly and easily access fresh, healthy food. Vermont communities that want to be more equitable, more inclusive, more sustainable, and more resilient are smart to start looking at their local bylaws and land use regulations that impact housing provision. Across the country, towns and villages are looking for ways to foster greater downtown development, redevelopment, revitalization, and housing provision, and Vermont is no different. To determine where the best opportunities for reform might be, CNU began by looking at the state data on housing and demographic trends, as you see here. On the left, Vermont's existing housing stock is aging, and existing houses are often very large structures to begin with. But local bylaws may prevent those large historic homes from being subdivided into smaller, more affordable units, the way this particular home seen on the right has been done. Those bylaws that restrict the opportunity for existing building stock to adapt in response to smaller household sizes, and to both younger as well as older populations who are looking for simpler, smaller homes in walkable towns and villages near activities and amenities. Bylaws restricting the subdivision of existing structures into smaller units or requiring the provision of excessive on-site parking might inhibit the ability to adapt a structure to current community needs and current housing market trends. The result can be the wrong kind of housing in the right location, driving up the cost of the right kind of housing that does exist. Furthermore, while population growth is slowing across the state, as you see here, not every community in Vermont is contracting. People are moving from rural places to urban places, and the number of individual households is actually growing. That's because individual households are getting smaller in Vermont. Almost 70% of Vermont's households have fewer than 3 people, and a quarter are single-person households. That equates to half of the total number of one-bedroom units that currently exist across the state. And what that means is that there is a supply issue for smaller units. Without finding efficient and effective ways to add more, the demand for smaller units will continue to drive their price out of the reach of many Vermonters who want them. Local bylaws requiring extensive design review for any new development, even infill of a single building, can make the process lengthy, which can cost developers time and money. And in turn, the developers pass those costs on to the price of the housing. The result can be, even in communities where new housing is desperately needed, new homes being added to the supply are expensive to build and are unaffordable for many as a result. What Vermonters needed a century ago isn't what they need today. There are now too many homes that were built for too large of a household in areas too far from current employment, making those that do meet what Vermonters need today too scarce and therefore too expensive for many Vermonters to afford. Producing enough housing units in the right places in order to keep up with the demand is essential for affordability, and that means lowering the cost of production and increasing the variety of housing types produced. And as I've outlined, key changes to bylaws that will help lower the cost of production and increase the variety of housing that can be built can contribute significantly to this challenge. Doing these biggest little things, as we like to call them, to help encourage more affordable housing, like adjusting minimum lot or unit sizes, adjusting parking requirements, simplifying the approvals process in general, and allowing more units within the same existing land use pattern is where incremental code reform can help. In the next chapter, I'll describe the methodology in detail.